and these are the choices that I made. And a piece that always helps me stay forward and keep on track is knowing like I did the best that I could with what I knew at the time.
Okay. What's up, everybody? We're back. Here's a fun fact for you before I introduce you. That's how I introduce every episode. And I tell every person that comes on, that's how I start every episode. And now it's just like a running thing.
I love it.
But today, I get to sit down with my new friend, Onoleigh. You are a country singer-songwriter.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to dive in.
By the point in time that we've started recording this, by what is being shown, we are now an hour into a conversation.
We are, but that's authenticity, and that's how you know it's really good.
You know, we were talking about this beforehand, but it's like, I enjoy having some, the worst thing you did when we sat down was you said, I don't have a time frame, like my whole day scheduled around this.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you shouldn't have said that.
I know, that was kind of the piece, but no, I think those are always the best conversations is when you're like, I'm in. I like to put my world around things and prioritize. So again, thank you for having me. It's gonna be fun.
It's an honor to have you on here. Can you pull your mic in just a little bit?
Yes, of course
Sorry.
I can. Is that better?
That's great.
Okay, love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I told you I'd sit here and practice.
No, this is great. Tell me. Yes.
And you said you do the same thing when you perform.
Oh, when I'm singing, there are photos my photographers will get, and I'm like, Onoleigh, your microphone is in your mouth. Like, chill. Yeah.
So I feel like I can say this, and if not, you can tell me to cut this. But I did ask you, because I've had people on before, and I'm like, yo, is this your name or is this your stage name?
Yeah.
And I asked you, I was like, this has to be your stage name. Your stage name.
Yeah.
And I told my wife Tori earlier, I was like, this has to be your stage name. Has to be. And I asked you, I was like, is this? And you're like, no. And you told a story, and I'm gonna tell the story now because I think it's incredible that that is your given name.
That is my real name on my birth certificate. Yes.
And it was because your parents have told you that when you were born, you were going to become something.
Yes, absolutely. And we didn't know what that was going to be.
So now here you are, a couple decades later in life, becoming something.
Yeah.
When you think about that, like, I said something and it made me think about it. I was like, what's your perspective like for you right now, where you are in your career, where you're not where your goal is to be, but you're also somewhere that you probably never would have dreamt of being?
Yes, correct. So for a little background and people who have kind of followed the journey, I was a middle school guidance counselor in Fulton, Missouri.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yes.
That makes my life.
Like,
you've
totally
diagnosed me 9 times already.
We're chatting earlier. He's like, wait, oh God, I'm going to get the guidance counselor. I'm like, no.
Yeah, you started to say something. I was like, shit. She's a guidance counselor. Here we go. I need diagnosed. It's great.
Yes, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Can you diagnose me officially as ADHD?
Absolutely not. No, you are creative. You are creative. And yes, it's wonderful. But so I actually was going to be in, a guidance counselor. I got my degree in social work from the University of Missouri. It was the path that I dreamt about my entire life. I was going to start nonprofits. I was going to kind of pave the way in that way. And then I was like maybe 4 months in, truly. And I was telling my students actually that they, pursue what scares them the most, do what scares you, do what challenges you, live your life as you get one. And I'm doing all these like motivational Pinterest quotes, in my office, feeling good about myself. And then I would go home and I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not doing what scares me the most and what I know that on a deep level I want to do. And so there was I was offered a full-time position out in Missouri at a different middle school. And I did the application, I did it all. And I kind of had this moment where I'm like, this cannot be it right now. So I dropped everything and I told my parents, I'm like, I'm going to go to Nashville. I'd visited Nashville when I was 16 for the first time with my dad.
Yeah.
And I kind of experienced it, something bigger, like it planted the seed. And then, I came to Nashville. I started working on Lower Broadway. I started just really grinding, coming from like the bottom of the city up. And I mean that in the way that like Broadway is an amazing place. For me, it was amazing in a sense that like, obviously I was a guidance counselor before. So I finally started learning what it was to even sing on a stage and to perform and, play with a band. Like I didn't have the whole garage band experience of, small town stuff. I was very much in a different trajectory. So to answer your question, I think what keeps me going and what keeps me rolling is knowing that like I'm already living a better life than I ever could have if I didn't try it all. So yes, I've got so much work to do. And
sure.
Of course. Like
Absolutely.
but it's also like I've dedicated my entire life to doing this.
Yeah.
So I'm really in no hurry.
Yeah.
Obviously I would love to, do the things that I want to do and get there, and it's exciting. But I'm already living a life closer to my most authentic self than I ever could have if I didn't
Yeah.
leave Missouri. So
And we were talking, before we kind of were officially rolling about how both of us are like very like our brains don't shut off. Like
never.
my brain, like I remember Tori asked me one day, she's like, do you ever just think about nothing? And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, there's like some people who just like can sit there and like literally think about nothing. I'm like, no.
I don't even
Like
know what that.
I
I don't even know what that is.
until the second like my body shuts itself down to like I'm actually asleep.
Mhm.
I am thinking about something, about whatever. I mean, it was like, I don't remember if it was last night or the night before. I texted one of my best friends who does all of our design work. Dustin Harper's his name for Deepish. And I texted him, I was like, dude, I'm just like, I think it was actually 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I'm thinking about this and what are we leaving on the table from a creative perspective that we're not doing? And he's like, and I know, like, and he's a creative, so he's up late too.
Yeah.
But I know he's also just like, dude, shut up. Like, because his response was something along the lines of, you like, that stuff's gonna come. Like, we're doing great. Like, you are doing great. I'm like, yeah, but I'm like, dude, like, think about all the behind the scenes stuff that's not there because I don't have somebody shooting content all the time. And he's just like, dude,
Yes.
you're gonna get there.
Well, you're an optimizer. I can
Yeah.
already tell that about you. I think you're like, yes, you're doing the experience, but
See,
the hard
here's the
part.
guidance counselor.
Yeah. Here she is. But no, you're an optimizer. It's like you're in it and you're going to do the thing A to B, but you're also going to like bring in every little side quest of how can we optimize, maximize, do the thing.
100%.
It can get overwhelming. Being us and also being around us, people in my life. I mean, I was just having a conversation with a friend yesterday and he was like, I think I was speaking in one train and then all of a sudden I kind of answered a side quest and he's like, where did that come from? I'm like, there was another conversation going on in my head. And he's like, what do you mean? And I can't explain that until you meet someone like you.
Yep. Oh,
and then we're on the same path and I'm like, oh, he gets it. And
I do.
it's so good to surround yourself with people that get you.
Oh, yeah, I fully understand it.
Yeah.
And I think, but that all that to be said is like part of the reason I bring that up is because when you talk about like this concept of like we are both early in our journey of what we're trying to build.
Of course.
And it's easy to, I think on two levels. There's two sides of this coin where it's easy to go, I'm not where I want to be. And not always like, and so staying on this like grind of trying to get there and work your ass off to accomplish it.
Yeah.
Because I don't ever want to look back and not accomplish what I want to because I didn't try my hardest or I didn't work hard or I didn't put every piece in place. And the other side of it though is like, because of that is it's easy to not be grateful for what you have accomplished.
Absolutely.
Because you're like, I'm not where I want to get to. But then so I think that's why I ask you that. It's so interesting to hear your perspective of like, you were in a completely different career path.
The duality is outrageous if I think about it often. But like,
Yeah.
I also, as much as I want to go, Onoleigh, why didn't you get here sooner? There's always the piece of me that goes, but you also got here. And I think so many of us need to think about that of like, it's so easy to look at the negative and look at how we're not hitting the mark.
Yep.
But like, it's just as healthy to say, but I also am. You can't have one without the other.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Otherwise, you're just going to drive yourself into a hole. And then again, you get there and you realize, I don't have anything I ever wanted anyway.
Yeah. Is it easy for you, like when you think about that piece of like, Onoleigh, you should have moved here earlier. Like, how much further along could you be if you had not started a career as a guidance counselor or you had not gone to college or something? Is it easy for you then to sit in that place and to compare yourself to people that you've met who are past the that 10-year mark in this town and go like, well, look at what they're doing and like how do you process or navigate that emotion and that feeling?
Yeah.
To come back to bring yourself back to like, no, but you did move here. You did make the hard step, take the hard step.
Yeah. I think I'm a big analyzer and intellectualizer, and I'm big on like, but what does this mean? And what does this mean? And I think beyond all of that, what has really helped me is just being like, but you didn't. Like, this is your story. This is their story. There's so much I don't know about even the most public stories, because it's all about what you give. And I think even for myself, I'm trying to just be like, this is who I am. And these are the choices that I made. And a piece that always helps me stay forward and keep on track is knowing like I did the best that I could with what I knew at the time. And
that's
in hindsight, it is so easy to be like, man, I should have done the thing. But I didn't know that Nashville existed. I didn't know that a career path
Yep.
in music existed. I mean, I come from a tiny cornfield town in Illinois. You know,
Yep.
I come from my parents had a landscaping business. My dad takes down trees for a living solely now. You know, it was like a family business. I was laying mulch every summer,
That's so
laying
sick.
grass, all the stuff,
Yep.
sod.
So you're a country girl through and through.
Oh my God. And not even just country girl. I'm a blue collar kid. I
Yep.
am so blue collar, where I'm like the workhorse of it. And I think kind of in my journey right now, I'm learning not only how to work hard, but how to work smart.
Oh yeah.
And that has been a massive shift in like, okay,
Oh.
like I'll put the hours in.
Yep.
But like now, how do we strategically put the hours in where you're like leaving some for yourself, having a social life,
Yeah.
like having other
Well,
things?
because what you just said, it's like, you know, you are basically, and I don't remember if you said this when we started rolling or if you was before, but it's like you are basically a solo entrepreneur
Yeah.
in what you're doing. Like you are building a business of Onoleigh.
Yeah.
Which is such a wild concept to think
Wild.
about. But like, so when you think through where you are in your artist journey and where you're trying to get to and what you have accomplished versus what your goals are to accomplish, that's where it comes in of that piece of like, I can't take time off. I
Correct.
can't, I can't quit. Now I will tell you this. I think our generation has become the best at learning how to navigate working hard when you need to work hard, but also knowing when to take time away.
Mm-hmm.
Like my grandfather, who is, close to retirement, and he is an accountant, works for a tax firm, and has been a partner there for all of my adult life.
Mm.
And we were talking one day, and he was like, we can't get, like, he would, at a time in his life, he would work 90-hour weeks and not bat an eye at it and be like, there's work to get done. I've got to do it. And he's like, we can't get this younger generation to work that hard. I'm like, here's the thing. It's not about whether they want to work hard or not. It's like my generation cares a shit ton more. I'm already cussing and we're way too early.
Get in there. Get in there. It's all right.
But like our generation though, because like you and I are the same generation, like we care far more about like, we're going to work hard. We don't, it's not that we're anti-working hard. It's just that we've also learned that it's like, we're not going to be 65 and have worked, 40 years worth of 80-hour work weeks to what avail? So like, we're going to work hard in those 40, 45 hours we need to work in the week. We're going to get our work done. But we're also going to have a, work-life balance of like where, hey, when we get home, we're home.
Yes.
And I think that's been something interesting that I've noticed of the difference in generations is like the older generation misconstrues our generation as they don't want to work hard. Whereas in reality, it's like, it has nothing to do with whether we want to work hard.
No.
It has everything to do with that we are trying to navigate the knowing when to work hard and then when, hey, like I'm off the clock, I don't need to work hard.
Exactly. And I think, I don't know if, you probably do experience this, like entrepreneurship is a whole different beast in itself too, and like that has been something that I've recognized now. I mean, ever since I got out of college, I pretty much have always been an entrepreneur, give or take. And you're right. Like, when do you turn it off? Because there's always things to do. Any moment of any day, even when I get off of a 16-hour shoot or a whatever, writing and doing the thing, and I'm all on the external, I come home and I still have to do the emails. I still have to fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And so there is a part of you where, like, again, when you're then coming into a creative aspect, if your cup is not full, you cannot create. So I can just keep running myself into the ground going, yes, I'll knock these things off the list and they feel good for 5 minutes. But then what happens when tomorrow I go to a write and it's like, all right, let's really dive in and I have nothing left to give. So it's there's like this, I don't know if you struggle with that ever.
Oh,
but
100%.
there is
I know
this,
exactly
like,
what you're talking about.
yeah, like when do you turn it off? When do you take a deep breath? When do you like go hang out with your friends? Like the last couple years, I've really truly been prioritizing friendships and like relationships and going out to dinner and like not feeling guilty about it because I do have such this like forward mindset. Like, do you have any advice for that? Do you ever entrepreneur to entrepreneur?
Yeah. It's also unique for me too because I still have a full-time job. On top of trying to build this and do everything I'm doing with Greenhouse Media and Deepish and trying to create a media company. It is, it can be. And then on top of that, you throw in the fact that I have almost 9-year-old and a 9-month-old and a wife that is like, I don't go to bed early.
No. And like,
I can't.
And when you mentioned it earlier, like you just go to sleep and it's almost like you're not even dreaming. You're just pausing it all. And then you wake up and you're like, here we go again.
Your dreams are things that you have to get done the next day,
Yeah.
But I think you're on the right path of it. It is very important to know what to say yes to and what to say no to.
Right.
And because like again, like when you're wired the way we are, there's always something to do.
Yes.
And you never know what email that you don't answer could
Right.
be, like that's in the
There's
back of your
never a
head
feeling
every
of
time.
completion. There's
You
never a
know?
feeling of
Because
completion.
so case in point is like
Yeah.
my kids are in bed between 7 and 8 or 9. Tori's usually in bed by 8 to 8:30 or 9 because, we've got a baby who wakes
Of
up and
course.
I'm like, she needs sleep far more than I do. And so I'm like, you go to bed, like I got to lock in on something. So like I will between 9 and 10 or 9 and 11 or something, like a lot of nights, that's when I'll sit down and I'll work on editing or I'll work on emails and I'll sit down and I'm like, all right, I got to find 5 brands to reach out to tonight. And
Yes.
and then I'm going to spend 30 minutes researching and then typing an email and sending all that. It's like, that's the way my brain functions.
Correct. Me too.
I was like, I try not to do that every night. But in the back of my head, I'm always like, oh shoot, you got to reach out to somebody.
Yes.
Oh shoot, you got to like
There's
try to
never
find
this
new guests.
calmness.
No.
Which, all that to say, then as you're speaking this, I'm going, okay, something that I've been working on is the presence of it, right?
Yeah.
Because like we always experience every phase of life in the present. Even
Yep.
the past we experience in the present.
Yep.
The future we'll experience in the present. So like that is probably the biggest key for me is where I
Yeah.
just go like, that will get done. This will happen. Our brains are wired
Yep.
this way. Like it's always going to happen.
Yep.
How do we take a deep breath?
I think that is something I'll tell you this. I had a friend who she and I used to joke about how she was like a sister to me, but I have sisters. That was like a running joke. And we worked together and we're very good friends. She and her husband were very good friends and are very good friends of Tori and
Yeah.
I. But I remember talking to her one day and because they're a little older than we are. And they have 3 kids that are all 9 to 10 years older than our oldest. Their youngest is 19 years older than Roman. And we were talking one day and, we used to work from home a lot, and she especially worked from home a lot because she didn't live super close to the office.
Yeah.
And I think 1 or 2 of their kids at the time were homeschooled. And I remember her telling me a story about how, if one of her kids, if she was at home working from home and was working on emails or something, and one of her kids walked in and was like, hey, Mom, she would go, all right, I need 5 minutes. I'm in the middle of this email and my brain is focused on this. And so let me finish this. Can you stand right there? Don't move. Let me finish this. Hold your train of thought. Let me respond to this. And she said, and then when I was done, I'd close my laptop and set aside and I'd lock it. And I think the reason I bring that up is because when you're talking about that presence piece, that is something I think people like us that are whose brains are wired the way ours are, can easily not be present in moments. Because so case in point is like I will be sitting there with my sons and I'm on Instagram, like doom scrolling, but also getting ideas of like, or I'm like posting reels or I'm editing on my phone or I'm answering emails because like my brain just, and so it's like learning how to like put it away and then lock in. So it's like if I'm hanging out with friends, I want to put my phone away and I want to lock in on what we're doing because to your point is like you have to refuel yourself.
You have to.
You have to have something in the tank, or when you go to the rights, or I sit down for a conversation with you, or you go to a video shoot, or I'm editing or something. Then I have nothing left to give because I haven't taken time away.
Totally.
The other thing that's really important is going to the beach.
Oh my God, there's something about the beach. There is something about the beach. My thing is like, I'm a beach girl, but I'm also like a mountains girl.
I'm not I don't dislike the mountains.
Right, but
if you're going to ask me like, you have 5 opportunities to go to the beach or the mountains, 5 out of 5, I'm going to the beach.
Fair. That's okay.
But like someone's like, hey, let's go to the mountains. All right, sick, I'll go. Like,
of
I'm not
course.
anti, but like if you're asking me to go camp, no shot.
Oh no, I'm a glamp girl. And that's because I spent my entire childhood camping. Okay. I love my family to death, but they were like the whole tent, the whole cooking corn in tinfoil in the fire kind of family. And I loved it. But now that I'm older and I have the right to choose, I'm so into the glamping world. I want a bed. I want anti-mosquitoes.
Yeah.
And it's not
see,
even
that's
in a
my
pretentious way.
Well,
I just don't want it.
So I have a friend of mine. His name is Stu Scheidecker, and I'm going to tell this story on him. Because he was always like, he and his wife were really good friends of mine in Tories. And they're like, we got to go camp. Like, they're big outdoorsy people. Like, they go camp, they go hike, all this crazy stuff. They're like, you guys got to go with us sometime. I'm like, well, here's a story he told me once. They were camping. I think they were married. because I think they were together camping, and they were sleeping in a tent. And I think all the details of what I'm about to tell are true. And he probably will hear this and tell me like, and he'll correct me. Yeah, but they were camping and they're laying in their tent and they just like heard this massive noise outside, and I'm almost 90% positive that like a bear was sniffing their hair. And I'm like, you want what? Why? You see, you can't tell me that and then expect me to want to go camping with you.
Correct. That's not
You know,
that's
when I
not
can
it.
go to stay at a beach house with a private pool and walk to the beach and sit on the sand, you know what's not coming to get me? A shark's not coming out of the water to get me.
Super fair.
An alligator's not coming out of the salt water to get me.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I get to sit on the beach with a cigar and a glass of bourbon and nobody, and I don't have to worry in the
You're a
world.
little bougie. Like you're a little.
A little is an understatement.
I know, me
respectfully.
too. The older I'm getting, I'm just like, I am that.
Yeah.
Isn't it cool when you hit an age where you just like, you are those things? Like you can officially be like,
and you don't,
this is who I am.
and you're comfortable in your skin enough to go like, I don't really care if you like me, or like it's that authenticity piece. You're like, I am what I am and who I am, and like respectfully, I'm not for everyone.
Right.
And that's okay.
It's so wonderful. You're right. When you hit the point and you're just it's authentic. And I do remember, like in my early 20s, it was all about how can I kind of morph and be. And also there is a part of you that like wants to try everything. Like you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
I literally lived on a school bus during the pandemic. I met a man.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah. I met a man. He said he's into tiny homes and he had a school bus that we Mod Podged to stealing and old vintage maps, and like we traveled the country off the radar. It was fabulous. But like I now know I'm good, you know? But for a long time, I was dreaming about this.
I have a deeper question. What do you mean you met a man and then you traveled the country with him?
So,
what do you mean?
So this is what's really funny. Okay, so like during the pandemic, we all kind of got to live alternate realities.
100%.
Of course. So like I got to live my alternative reality to the fullest. Basically, pandemic happens.
Yeah.
As I was saying, some of the deals and things that were lined up didn't go through. Everyone pauses the music industry. I'm devastated. I'm in a weird state of mind. We don't obviously know, that the pandemic was going to last as long as it did. If we knew the end date, I think I would have leaned in more to just the off time.
Yeah.
But when you're in the middle of it, you're like.
Do you remember when it started, everyone's like, life's going to be back to normal by April?
Yeah, and it was like, what, a whole almost year?
Oh, I mean, it was.
Residually. There was
yeah,
so
like, I mean, in some, you could argue it was 2 or 3 in some parts of the country before things were like actually normal.
Yes, exactly.
Tennessee was its own dichotomy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I was waitressing at this Irish pub in the Nashville area, and I had to wear a kilt every day. I also had to wear like a matching mask that matched my kilt. It was crazy.
There's no way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'm like waitressing. I'm like coming down from this high of like what could have been. And I'm, 2 years into this town. And all of a sudden I'm getting just humbled by the universe. And this man walks in with his dog, which was half wolf, half something. I'm not even kidding you.
No.
Like I wish I was making this up. I hear this and I'm like, shut up. Okay. Shut up to me. Shut up. But so he walks in, he's got a backpack on, he's got this dog, and he's sitting in the outdoor patio area. And I'm just kind of making eyes because, he was a little older, and I was, I think 22 at the time. 23 maybe. Anyway, we're getting to chatting, and he's like, let's, grab food after this. I'm like, awesome. So I go hang my kilt up, I get dressed, and I, pop out and we get dinner, and it was great. All of a sudden I realize he's in town, for Tiny Home Village scouting, if you will. And, I always thought that was super cool. I always kind of had this dream, like maybe I'd do this.
I'm so stunned by this story already.
It's the craziest story. Like people meet me and they're like, what? It's fine. But, because there's always that like childhood young dream of like, I'm gonna be the Pinterest nomad and go.
That must be a female thing, because I just respectfully, I can't.
Cool. That's okay. Yeah. This was a me thing. Okay? So there was like this nomadic piece of me that just wanted to travel and live. And anyway, I got to. So all that to say, all of a sudden, he was local for about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We're hanging out the whole time. He goes, by the way, I'm going back to Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
Do you want to come with me? And I was like, yes, which is crazy.
I
quit my job on the spot and I fly out to Wichita, Kansas, and I lived on this bus with this man. And like, we made it. Like, we really made a bus a home. Let me tell you what. Again,
for sure.
Like I said, like made it cutie.
That did get real big during COVID.
It did. It was great.
Sprinter van, all of that. Yeah.
And he was big into like, bus conversions. And I will say in hindsight, like this man was like just a genius. He had a fabulous monetized YouTube channel. He was doing the thing. I was proud. But all that to say, I got to kind of live this thing where I was pulled out of what I thought my life was going to
Mhm.
be, and then be this other thing. And I started writing music that was like extremely from the soul, because it was lonely out there. Like, it's
Mhm.
lonely being nomadic. It's lonely. I didn't have anyone my age. I didn't have anyone like me. And I started kind of having this alternate reality that I got to experience. All that to say, my music started getting really authentic. And, you know,
Yeah.
it ended the minute the pandemic happened. You know, he's like, hey, come do this with me. And I'm like, hey, my heart's in music. This was a fun
Yeah.
moment, but I got to go.
Yeah.
So we broke things off. I came back to Nashville. I resumed. I got back in. But I will say that chunk of time was like the
So how
biggest
long did you
blessing.
live with this guy in a van?
So it was probably
Did you live in a van
collectively.
down by the river?
No,
You know
no,
what
it
that's
was a
from?
full-on school bus.
You know what that's from?
All I keep thinking is down by the river.
No, it's
What is it?
it's from SNL.
Okay.
It's a Chris Farley skit with the
Oh,
man who lives in a van down by the river.
okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. I will
That's
go
my-
watch
my-
it after
My
this.
ADHD kicked in.
I love it. This is the story of my life. I'm like, what was I saying? All that to say, though.
Yeah, we've identified that about the bus at this point.
But
in
alternate
time.
reality, like,
Yep.
did you have one of those during the pandemic? Or really ever? Have you ever had just a break in time? You were able to dip your toes into a pool of possibilities?
Man, that's a great question. I would like. I will say the pandemic. What I mean, now here's what you have to keep in mind. During the pandemic, I had a wife
Right.
and a almost 3-year-old.
I was in a different place.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, and I was 26.
Okay.
25, turned 26 that summer. So my life was and also like having a wife in the medical field. She's a nurse at the hospital. So like
Clever.
that completely made everything
Yes.
entirely, so like I'm working from home. My life's pretty chill and cake. And then she was,
In it.
yeah.
Mhm.
We were talking the other day, like, because at that time, if you were a nurse, you could go in some of the worst places and make like just crazy money. Like, I think there
Oh,
were
sure.
hospitals in New York City that were offering like 10 grand a week to nurses. To come work.
Really?
Like, you were working like nonstop, essentially.
Of course.
Like, you were working almost every day.
And
But
there's
like
a risk, I'm sure, at the time. Of,
at the
without
time,
knowing
well,
what we know.
again, like, yeah, agreed.
like,
I said
what do
again, I
we
meant
do?
agreed. Like, at that time, it's like we didn't know
We
anything.
didn't know. It's so easy. And that's what we were even saying earlier. It's so easy in hindsight to
Yeah.
be like, but you did what you knew at the time. And
See, and
everything played out.
that's what I love about. I think you said that a minute ago. You made this statement, something like, I did the best I think when we were talking about you moving here and how
Mhm.
like you evaluate, like, should I have moved here sooner? Like,
Totally.
am I missing out because I waited?
Mhm.
And which I think is easy to think that way.
Yes.
When you look back and in hindsight's 2020 and you know what you know now. It's like, I was telling you some earlier about, when I was still in ministry and
Mhm.
that time in my life, and I've talked about it on this podcast before, and it's easy. People are like questioning and like, even for me, it's like, I remember before that kind of season of my life started, I remember thinking like something in my spirit, like, did like, I had anxiety, I couldn't sleep, and
Yeah.
made the decision to, go down the road that I went down. And, looking back in hindsight, it's easy to go like, yeah, you shouldn't have done it. It would have saved you a lot of heartache. But at the same point in time, like, and I made decisions during that time that like I hurt people with decisions I made, and I know I did. And
Right.
like only the older part of my spirit can acknowledge that's like, yeah, I was hurt, but I also hurt people. But with that being said, I told people after the fact, I was like, yeah, I know I made decisions and they did things that probably weren't the best, but I did the best I could do with what was in my hand
Yes.
and what I knew to do in the moment. And
You trust that. And that's the piece
Yeah.
that you hold on to. Like, and you can apologize, and you hopefully the
100%.
people that no longer benefit off of that different version of yourself can
Yeah.
kind of look at you and go, oh, okay. I
Yeah.
love you still. And
Yeah, 100. When
I'll
that's the
stick
thing,
with
it's
you.
like that's one thing that's so interesting too. Is like when you say like different version of yourself. It's like, I mean, I told you this earlier. Like, I was a version of myself then that I don't even know. Like,
I
I
don't
could,
even- yes.
I couldn't get back to it if I tried.
correct.
know?
Yes.
And isn't that like, because so like think about that in terms of like yourself when you look back on, being a middle school guidance counselor.
Mhm.
Which like I couldn't. My wife Tori's all the time. She's like, you need to go sub at Roman school, and I'm like, no.
And you're like, that's not for me.
She's like, the kids would love you. I'm like, no.
They would love you.
They would love me, and then I'm like,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
But like,
It's a
because I
special.
could,
It's a special
yeah,
thing.
no shot I could deal with middle schoolers.
It's a special thing. Well,
Yeah.
there's also middle school is a very difficult age to go through because obviously you're
I
in
was
this
cool
middle
as
ground.
hell in middle school.
That was the last time I had good memories, to be
I'm
honest, till
not.
about
I was
2
not
years
cool in
ago.
middle school. I had
Middle
buck
school, I
teeth.
peaked.
See, I didn't peak in middle school. I think I probably peaked around 30.
No, I peaked in middle school and then I majorly dipped, and
Oh,
then now
yeah,
we're
yeah.
coming back in.
I see. In my brain, I think I thought I peaked in like
Mm,
11th grade, 12th grade. But yeah, no, in middle school, like when I started high school, I was like 5'8",
mhm.
stubby, buck teeth, and a bowl cut. And I will show you picture proof. I looked like Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. Swear to God.
Honestly, hell yeah.
It's
It
bad.
built character though.
Yeah,
There's probably some
I
of that
finally
is
deleted
also
those pictures off Facebook because
Mhm.
people kept people I know kept commenting
Yeah.
gifs of Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber. Like
you
I
were like,
literally looked like
mhm.
who plays him? I looked like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber.
I mean,
It was
Jim had
bad.
a great career, so.
Yeah, it was. But so sorry.
No, all that to say though.
Like thinking back like to when you were a middle school guidance counselor. I mean, it's been 8 years now.
Yes.
9 years since that. Like for you to get back to that version of yourself that's
Yeah.
that's not who you are anymore.
No, and I think I've always had this like empathy and this like truly deep rooted pain. I hate to even
Yeah.
go there,
No,
but
I get
I do. Like I think that is what I would connect with the kids. And in hindsight, I see it as like I don't even know how well of a leader I was as much as I was someone who could relate to them. Because I'd gone through a lot of that kind of thing. You know, I had a great childhood, but you know, it's difficult growing up in the cornfields and not having a lot of things around you that inspire you
Yeah.
and feeling like, what do you mean? Like I don't want this life. There's nothing here for me. And it doesn't mean it's not a good existence. I mean, a lot of people that I grew up with have a fabulous existence and you know, they're 3 kids in and a great marriage and they're doing it. But that was never like a life I wanted for myself. And when you don't know that anything beyond that exists, it gets pretty depressing. It gets pretty lonely. And now I see that obviously, but you know, with these kids that were in, you know, the lowest income school district in Missouri,
Jeez.
I'm chatting with them and talking to them, and I feel like I could be kind of a light in the darkness for them. And they all have moved on the best that they can. And, you know, there's still students that'll reach out to me, and I have,
That's
you know,
so cool.
a distant but nice relationship, and I cheer them on. But it very much was a period of time
Yeah.
that I agree, like I don't really recognize that part of myself other than just I have this deep love for human beings. But beyond
I
that,
get that.
I think I was kind of loving humans in a self-abandoning kind of way back then.
Okay.
And now I love humans in like, I love me too.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the piece that I came to Nashville and I found.
Yep.
And so to your question earlier, that's like, well, do you ever, you know, do you feel regret or do you feel like you're exactly where you're supposed to be or what that looks like? And and the piece of myself that I had to find that got me to this full version of myself was in Nashville, Tennessee, you know? So even if tomorrow I say this is not what I want to do, my life is so different than it ever could have been and so worth it. And I have no regrets there. So even though we're going to do this till the day we die. But you know what I mean?
100%
Like,
I do. Yeah.
And I know you
I
know
do.
that.
Yeah.
I know you
and
know
that's
that.
what's like even thinking like you made it such an interesting point of like you talking about you know how your perspective of loving people then versus loving people now.
Mhm.
And it made me think about something that I don't know that I've never said this publicly or
Mm.
out loud even, but I think it was easy for me to love people if you did what I thought if you were doing what I thought was right for you to do.
Mm.
As opposed to now I think I've learned better how to love people even when you're not living the way that I may think you should.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, that
It's
makes
like
sense.
it brings me back to a question I had somewhere along the lines. I saw somebody post something on Instagram or something. Someone I used to work with in ministry, and like people were making decisions, you know, in their spiritual walk that, you know, this person agreed with. They're like, I'm so proud of this person. And it brought up a question for me of like, what is our basis of pride?
Mm.
Like, am I only proud of people? Like sometimes I'm a deep thinker, and this is one of those.
No,
It's like,
you
and I
are a
haven't
deep
been able to like answer this question honestly.
Mhm.
But I started pondering this thought of like, what is the genesis of pride for me in people?
Mm.
And in life, am I proud of people? Are we as humans only proud of people as long as they are living and doing what we think is best and how they should be living their life? Or are we proud of people out of a soul perspective of who that like their humanity? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
And because I just think it's so easy, especially in the worlds we live in of like a sense of public facing, people see the accomplishments or what you're doing. And like one of the first questions I get from people now, how's the podcast doing? And I'm just like, they're like, man, I'm proud of you for doing it. I'm like, you don't know what it's like, respectfully.
Yes.
Like, are you proud of me because I stepped out and did something that was hard that like is an oversaturated market, but I was like, I knew for a fact I was supposed to do this? Or are you proud of the results you think I'm getting? And I say that to say to come back to what the other piece of like, I think I've learned how to love people for their humanity, not because whether or not they do. Like because even recently in life, I've had friends be like, hey, this decision I'm making, I'm like, I don't agree with it. But one, I'm not going to tell you I don't agree with it because I love you too much as a friend to try to tell you you're wrong.
Absolutely. Oh my God. And I think the thing that keeps coming in my brain as you're telling me this is like, I am so supportive and proud of people who are unapologetically themselves.
Yeah.
I'm so drawn to that.
Yeah.
And maybe because there's this piece in me that like, I want to be more like that. I want to say what I think all the time and say how I feel all the time.
Spend some time with me and you're going to not want to say and
and that's why like, I don't care if you are right or wrong or whatever. Like I'm big into just like, if this person's consistent and every time I see them, this is who they are, I respect the shit out of that.
Yep.
When I don't know how to take people or when they change given different situations or different moods they're in,
1000%.
That's where I get weird and I want nothing to do with that.
We were just
it.
Tori and I were just having that conversation recently about how we were around some people and some people were in the room and then some people weren't in the room and how different the behavior was. And I'm just like, I just don't have time for that.
And it's exhausting. And
it's exhausting because then you don't know who are you getting.
Correct.
Like, can you, like, for me, my question then becomes, can I actually trust you?
I can't trust you.
Which is such a deep, like.
And here's the other thought too, because then your heart goes, because this is a whole thing in my life. I can't trust you, but then it comes down to how the unhealed version of me is, how could this person do this to me? The healed version of me goes, that's unconscious. That's an unconscious behavior that they're doing. And that has nothing to do with me at all. And recognizing like in this healed state of mind, and I challenge this every day, but like how people treat you is a projection of their inner world. It has nothing to do with you. Obviously within reason, there are things that it's like, hey, you did this thing and like that was friggin' crazy or whatever.
Yeah, sure.
But more often than not, it's when a person treats you a certain way, it's like it's telling you a lot more about their internal world than who you are as a person.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you start walking through life like that, you're like, wait, I'm kind of free. Like this has nothing to do with me. Respectfully, I don't need to listen to that. Respectfully, and so then you can start paving out your way for authenticity, like we talk about. Like I'm gonna do this with music. Every time I go home for Thanksgiving, this past couple weeks ago, my brother just got married. I had some family around and I had some very opinionated people in my family that have known me my whole life. And it's very like, how's the music thing going? When are you gonna move on and do the real job? They started saying things like, did your parents ever learn to say no to you? And like, I don't even think consciously they know what they're saying, but like, I laugh it off because you giggle and you're like, whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, yes, like this is my path and I'm so grateful that my parents, it's not that they didn't say no to me. It's just that my parents were like, hey, this is who she's going to be. I can either rock out to it or I can fight it and not have a relationship with her. And so they recognize that from a very early age. And I think that is kind of one of those things that you grow and you get older and as your brain kind of creates itself and you go like, I'm unapologetically myself.
1000%.
People predict who I am every single situation. And that's the biggest compliment. I don't care if you think I'm right or wrong or whatever.
All right. So we're back. If you're new to Deepish, we had what I like to call an ongoing issue here, and that was that my camera battery overheated out of nowhere. You know what we were talking? So we were trying to figure out what we were talking about. I remember we were talking about you being with your family for your brother's wedding.
Yes.
And that what it's like to be where your family's like, did you ever hear no?
Right. Exactly. And like, when are you going to get serious about everything? And when are you, and like, the reality is you're right. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've given my life. And they're only getting little snapshots, every 2 times a year doing the thing. But the ones who care. The ones who don't. And I think that's just the massive takeaway with all of this is like, find the people who really want to know about you.
Yeah.
And then, sprinkle the rest.
Do you find it difficult for you? So like you talk about like family and people asking those questions of like, when are you going to get a real job? And when are you like,
1,000%.
do you feel like people don't see that people don't see the validation that what you're doing is a career and that like you are making money and you are building a path and a brand and a name for yourself until they see that you're signed? Because when I've talked to other artists, like something that like the first question people ask is like, have you signed a record deal yet? Are you on a label?
That's so interesting. That's really funny because I was even talking to a friend yesterday and I was like, I just feel like when things really start happening, it'll feel even legitimate to me. Because like even in myself, I feel like there's this deep like legitimacy even with myself. And so it's like if I have a hard time taking myself seriously, like I don't even blame other people. But at the same time, it's what is success? Everything is so subjective. What is making it? What is not? And does a record deal even determine your success?
1,000%.
And I would almost argue not the opposite, because of course a record deal is successful, and of course a publishing deal and a booking deal and a management, like of course. But there is so much to be said now about being an independent artist that I find just absolutely fascinating. And I'm talk about me being proud of people who are independently cooking, because I'm doing it myself and I know how much work it is. I am every single hat in my business.
1,000%.
There is nobody that it falls on. I do have key team members who like, are in it and of it and with me, but it all does come down to me at the end of the day. It's my shots, it's my vision, it's what I want it to be, it's my money. I have a candle business as well on the side
really?
I pour candles all the time, every day, all the
I
things.
need you to pour me candles.
I will pour you candles. I will make you a custom scent, okay? Yeah.
No, I'm dead ass.
I'm not even kidding. It's the coolest thing. I want people to walk into a room and like, because memory and scent are so connected. And so kind of what started, my business is called Ember and Vice.
No, I'm dead ass. I need this.
Let's do it. And basically I always ask people, I'm like, okay, in the studio, on this tour, fill in the blank, what do you want people to feel when they come into your space? And then we create these custom scents that they kind of, will have. And so people, every time they smell it, they'll go, that is deepish.
I'm dead ass. We're doing this.
Okay, let's do it.
Oh my God. But it's funny you bring that up though.
Yeah.
On a completely different thing. But it's like, you like that, this is how I know that we're like borderline identical humans. Because the other day I saw there's like, this is so stupid. Like 30A is like arguably my favorite place on planet Earth.
Well, you love the beach.
Yeah. Oh, I know. And to the point where like, the other day I saw that something on TikTok of some like creator was talking about the house they stayed in that ironically enough we have looked at staying in, but I've never stayed in there because I always find a better deal at a different house.
Yeah.
And I sent it to Tori and I'm like, why in the hell am I not a 30A influencer yet? And she's like, because you're already doing 9 million other things.
Totally.
I'm like, yeah, but like that's where I like find my sweet spot. Like it comes back to the whole thing of like that we can't just sit still.
No.
But
correct.
And so it is funny to hear that you also you make candles on the side.
Totally.
Like that you have like something else that you do besides just music.
Well, I had to have something too that kind of helped the creative without 100%. Being music,
Yeah, no, I fully get that.
Everything is music. You're like, I don't even know if I like music right now, And so pouring candles, it's like another creative outlet that's like tangible also. I think for me, like, and in music specifically, there's never like a checkbox. It's like, okay, I'm going to put out a song,
fluid, I feel like.
But then I'm going to put out another song and I'm going to play a show, but I'm going to play another show. And there's never like, I turned my project in, I can take a deep breath. So with candles, it's like, there's something so satisfying to me that I'm going to put the wicks in and then I'm going to mix the scent and then I'm going to pour the scent.
How did you get into that?
It's always been a passion of mine.
Okay.
I freaking love it.
That's so sick though.
I actually worked at Patty Wax. Which,
I love Patty Wax.
Yeah, people in Nashville know. That was like one of my post-COVID jobs, on the interim. And I was pouring candles and I was like, wow, my brain's actually like still. And anytime I see fire, my brain is like still. And I don't know how to describe it. I could stare into a campfire and like not have a single thought in my mind.
I feel like campfires have the same effect on humans as like they say like standing in the sand at the beach does too. There's like something grounding.
There is. Oh, well, I think it's just like truly biological.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
like that is why I think I'm the happiest I am 98% of the time when I'm the 14, 12 days, whatever I am, when I'm at the beach, because I'm like, I
Mm,
sleep better than I ever have.
you're like connected.
100%. But it is interesting though, you say talking about you wear every hat
Hmm.
in your business,
Yes.
in this, in the brand of Onoleigh, of art, like artist Onoleigh. You have people in your camp,
Yes.
but you have like, it is you.
Yes.
And I identify with that on every level,
Hmm.
because when I joke about it a little now, but it's like when I started this, I didn't hire a producer. I didn't hire anybody.
Hmm.
One, I'm not making money to do that yet. But
Yes.
two, it's like I also knew though that I wanted to learn how to do everything and to do it myself, because I feel like if I mailed it in and just tried to shop it out and just let other people do it, I wouldn't have the same appreciation
Yes.
as I do right now of the fact that like
Hmm.
I produce and put out this entire show by myself now. I have very talented friends who have helped me along the way, of
Of
like
course.
that have helped
Yeah.
me learn tricks of the trade when it comes to audio or video. And like I have a friend who's a music producer who built out my entire audio template, which made my life.
So much easier.
Yeah, that's like, it's
Yeah.
easy to learn video. Learning audio is not easy
No,
at
well,
all.
exactly.
And so,
It's
but
outrageous.
but it's like, and like I don't design the graphics. I said that, like my buddy Dustin, who's one of my oldest friends, he does all my creative design work. But all that to be said, do you think that you, at this stage of your life, 8 years in,
Hmm.
that when you're 15 years in and you're signed to a label and you're, a large name touring artist, being at this stage 8 years and having worn all the hats, it will give you more, I don't know if satisfaction's the right word, but like true appreciation
True
and
appreciation.
gratitude for
Yes.
like where you got to, knowing that's like, I worked my ass off to get here.
Oh
And I
yeah.
didn't mail it in, and I
Yeah.
didn't just like find people to do everything for me, and I didn't just like try to be I think that's part of it for me, is I don't want to cosplay that I'm someone or something that I'm not
Hmm.
yet.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
It all makes
I think it
sense.
comes back to that authenticity piece of like, yeah, no, like it's me. It's me and me alone, and I'm grinding the hell out of it to
Totally.
get to where I want to be.
Yes.
But also it's like you kind of have to put on like it's something bigger. It's
A
such a
thousand
weird
percent.
catch
And it
22.
is bigger. I think there's like this constant living in the future of it, and then like what it is right now, because I absolutely know that I'm going to get to that place,
Yeah.
because when you have this level of obsession over something, like it is
Yes.
bound to work out.
Yes.
It is.
I would agree.
And I
with
have
you.
a level of obsession
Yeah.
with my artistry. I just do. And
Well,
like,
you already said you're like, this is what I'm gonna do forever.
oh my God, like
Like
I've committed my
respectfully,
life to it.
I'm in it. Yeah.
I love music. I mean, it's the way I process existing is music, you
Mhm.
know? So like, yes, the editing and the social media and all of it. There's so many learned hats that I've
Mhm.
created for myself around it. To
Mhm.
answer your question, like I'm so thankful that I have learned those hats, because I do have appreciation, and I do, when I bring somebody on my team, I do editing. That is one of those things for videos and social media content.
Oh yeah.
I have so much respect for editors sitting there
Same.
going
It's
piece
so
by piece, the
tedious.
patience, the tedious. That's not me.
Yeah.
But I've learned it,
Yep.
and I now know
Same.
what that takes. So
Yep.
whenever I have someone that's so good at it,
Yeah.
I know how to hold on to that, and I know how to compensate them properly, and I know what they're worth. I'm not just like phoning each piece in. And
Mhm.
it's like that with every single hat I wear. And there is a level of, gratitude when I don't have to do it anymore, or when I'm able to
Mhm.
hand the baton, or I have the finance to do the thing.
Mhm.
Because it is an infrastructure. And just as much as like music is my forte, no pun intended,
Mhm.
it's like editing is some other person's
Yeah.
forte and their love and their niche. So like,
Mhm.
as much as I want to know about it, I also know I'm not an expert on it. And so I'm ready to go, here you go. And
Yeah.
that's how teams are built. But, when somebody can do something better than I can do, which the threshold shifts depending on the task,
Yep. For sure.
that's when I know this is an
Mhm.
outsourcing experience.
I wish I could remember. It might have been somebody in ministry talking. I don't remember who I was listening to, and I might regret saying this because it could have been someone that I'm not a huge fan of saying it, but I'm gonna say it anyways.
Deal.
But it's that piece of like, because you were talking about like there's someone's gonna come along the lines who the tediousness of editing video is it's their thing. Like,
That's their thing.
and
It
so
gets
it's
them
like
going. Yeah.
for me to hold on to that because I'm scared to release it.
Mhm.
Not from I'm good at it, but
Mhm.
from I'm scared to hire it, or I'm scared that I'm gonna like withholding something that someone else is great at. And I really wish I can remember where I heard that. And it's going to drive me crazy until I do, but it'll come back.
But that's a great
I'm just going to text you
perspective.
and be like, I remember it now.
I got
But
it.
yeah.
3 a.m.
Yeah,
I got it, Onoleigh.
1000%. It's
my life.
yeah, I'm like, I'll text people back anytime that I'm like, I hope you have do not disturb mode on because you're just, if
You're
not,
getting it right now. Yeah.
because if not, I'm
Yes.
going to forget it.
Yes.
I want to get into the music stuff, and I want to go back for a second to something else you said. Because you were talking about when you were a middle school guidance counselor. And I feel like part of why you and I get along so well is because we came from similar type upbringings from like context of town. Because I'm from Huntington, West Virginia. And so like when you talk about you don't know how great of a leader you were in the context of the middle schools you worked in and the students you helped kind of guide through life, because for a lot of those people they don't see the way out. And if you leave it, you're weird. And I completely understand that. Because like the amount, like I now have more friends and more people in my life that like I grew up with who have left it and have walked away from it. But at the same point in time, when we moved away, no one else was doing it.
No.
Everybody was 5 minutes from the house they grew up in, 10 minutes from where their parents live now. Their kids had their grandparents down the street.
Yes.
And like, don't get me wrong, I would adore if my kids were a 5-minute walk from their grandparents. I mean, I grew up 3 minutes from my grandparents' house. So I was there all the time. So like, yeah, I would adore if my kids had that. But at the same point in time, it was like, I also saw a way out to something bigger. And it's not that people in West Virginia aren't doing great things. It's just like to your point, it's like, yeah, there's people there doing incredible things and, you know, have made a life for living for themselves in life there. But also at the same point in time, like, it's a very depressing place to live. And it's hard because the state's a beautiful place, but it's like the culture there cannot be a beautiful place. And so it's like for us, like we're the crazy ones. We're the dumb ones who were willing to risk it all and move away and go somewhere. Like we didn't have any connections here. We didn't know anybody here.
No.
Anyone.
Yeah. And I think that's why we have to give ourselves grace too, because I think I'm just hitting that point 8 years in. Now I have hindsight where I'm like, wow, that was bold. That was bold. Like everyone's going, wow, you're really going to do that? And you have that angst and you have that like, get me out of here. So like it's pushing you. And the only thing I think more painful than leaving was staying.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why sometimes it is the outcast that gets out, because it's so painful to exist there. And like, and like,
because it's just like, there's some of us that just like, that life is not for us.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I say that, it's like the funny thing is like, I mean, you're at our house right now. Like we moved out Loki into the middle of nowhere.
That's how it goes. Yes.
Yeah. But at the same point in time, it's like, this is the life, you know, that I feel like we were meant to live in the place we were meant to be. And it's like, you know, we've talked about, it's like Tori and I have of this sentiment of, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now living there. I would not have made the connections with people that I've made, you know, living there. And it's like, and that is no attack or anything at the people who've stayed and have built a life there. Like, good on you. It's just, I think that piece is, it's just like in our journeys is like to have the boldness or the brashness or the faith or whatever you want to talk about of the angst of like, I got to get out of this town.
Delusion.
Yeah. Delusion, I think is great of like because to come from nothing and have the delusion of, I'm going to move to a big town where you're a dime of nickel. Like you are 1 out of 2.
Yes.
Even, you know.
It's so humbling.
Yeah.
It is,
but you're like, you live in a delulu state of mind. I do every day of like, watch me. And like, you doubt me. All right, bet. Swear to God. I take notes.
Yeah.
It's so, we were talking about unhealthy. I'd like, unhealthy, what's the word I'm looking for?
Behavior.
Toxic traits.
Toxic traits.
That's the word I was looking for. Oh, that's one of them. Oh, I keep mental notes of if you doubt it. Okay.
See, I feel like I did, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
I used to be very much like that, and obviously there's pieces where I'm like, watch me, like my family member that was doing the things.
Competitiveness.
Yes, but I think there's also like, it's not other people that I want to prove wrong. I think it's old versions of myself. I get
that for sure.
Like it's more that. It's more like the little Onoleigh that like didn't think she could, and now she's doing it, and it's like
Yeah.
proving her, because it's
Yeah.
all such a personal journey for me. I don't
Yeah,
even think
and I
I
get that.
hear the hate. I probably should more. I should probably pay attention to it more, but I'm more focused on
Well, I
being
think
better.
the thing that I pay attention to most is not the hate as much as it's the what's the way I'm trying to put this? It's the lack of clear support.
Okay.
So it's like the people you think would most be there to support you, but then support someone else who's doing something that's bigger right now. And I'm like, all right, bet.
That does hurt.
I take notes.
I had right when
Oh.
you said that, I was like, I know what that's like.
And like
Do
that's one of my toxic traits, but I'm like,
you think they're aware of it though, what they're doing?
no.
I don't think so either.
I don't either. And I
that's
think
where I
that's
shift.
yeah, and that's
Yeah.
also where it's like that's why I don't say anything
Right.
about it. But it's also it's like part of the way I'm wired is like I have to compete against something. And if I'm not competing against the fact that I think there are people who don't actually support what I'm doing that I think should, it's an unhealthy. I know it's toxic. I know it's a toxic trait, and that's why I
No.
don't bring it up. But it's like
Yeah.
two people. That's why I'm like I don't go at people and be like, now I'll go to Tori and be like, look at this. Do you see this?
Yeah.
You see this? And it's like, and because like my thing is, I'm like, I probably shouldn't say this out loud, but whatever. It's just
We're
where we
in
are.
it, you know?
We're in it, so I'm just gonna say it. But
Right.
what part of what my response will be is like, if you don't want to support now, when there's clout to be had, don't expect it. You know?
Do you have people that you went to school with that are starting to reach out and shift narrative? Does that happen to you yet?
I'm not that. So hold on. Let's clarify something here. I graduated with I think 13 people.
Oh wow! So
I
yeah,
went to
you
a
were
small
much-
Christian school.
Okay.
In Hurricane, West Virginia.
Wow.
So I haven't been connected to people from that time of my life.
Right.
No, also you have to keep in mind, I also graduated high school 14 years ago.
Right.
So I'm now getting ancient.
You're an ancient. You are.
Yeah,
You're
I'm a
artifact.
relic of society. I'm like Stonehenge right now. But so no, there have been some people that have reached out and been like, hey, I just discovered that you were doing this. Like, I love it. But not from like, there's been nobody that's reached out from there's been a couple people who've like reached out and been like, yo, I'd love to come on. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like I'll keep it in mind. But not from the standpoint of anyone that's like, that thinks there's a level of success there that like they can grasp onto. Have you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's starting to happen. And obviously, I think like I'm about to hit, I think 10 years, I think, just from my high school. And it's less about the jealousy of it. I think people just kind of remember the past how they want to remember it. And like also, who the heck knows what I remember? Because I think we all remember things in like the packaging that we prefer.
Yeah, this was like we remember what happened in our version of reality that exists in our head.
And then when you get older, I at least have the maturity to go, I could also not have the fact, you know, because like we even remember our childhoods. We remember pieces of our lives through the lens of when we were experiencing it. And so I do give benefit of the doubt in that way. But there have been definitely moments for me where people will reach out and be like, hey, I'm passing through Nashville. I would love to sit down and like hear about everything. And in my head, I'm like, you are the reason I sat in the bathroom during lunch, you know, like I didn't, or like you're the reason I didn't go to school for a few weeks because I was so embarrassed of this incident. And like, they don't remember that, or maybe they do, but I think it's
that's
just
their version of making amends.
Totally.
Are you the type of person that you can't move on in a situation mentally if someone doesn't address what was wrong? Does that question make sense?
It makes sense. I'm going to be so real with you. I don't remember shit. I wish I remembered more. I'm more of the person that like, I'm so locked into what I want to do and who I want to be, and probably more futuristic than I'd even like to be. That I
respect that though.
I don't even really remember. Like I'll run into somebody and there might be something weird and I'm like, did something happen? And then I have to go back in the archives of my brain and be like, oh, maybe something did.
Yeah, and then you're like, was that a night where I got to Marlboro Reds? And then I'm like, that's why I don't remember.
Or like, what version of me was that? Because I have done so much growing. Like, oh my God. I mean, and there is, even talking about where we came from, you know, like that is a different person that grew up in small town Illinois. It's a different person that was in college for me. It's a different person that was even here, you know, my first 3 years in Nashville. I think I truly have found my authentic, calm, full self probably in the last maybe 2-3 years. And that's just like the human experience, you know?
And
Right.
it's but that
Yeah.
also is part of, like, we were talking earlier of how much that perspective, though, comes the older you get.
Yes.
And like, you think about it's like because you were saying when y you had deals that fell through or potential deals that fell through because COVID started and you look
Mhm.
back and you're like, "Yeah, I was 22 at the time." Like, what
And
would
like, thank
22 me have
God.
done?
Thank God.
Yeah.
The music I was putting out at 22 or writing,
Yeah.
it wasn't my best, and it wasn't
Yeah.
bad because like art's subjective, but it
Correct.
wasn't me.
Yep.
And I think I had a lot of people in my court telling me who to be, and I was okay with being that. And now I am very much like, I hear you,
Yeah.
but this is who Onoleigh is, and this is what I want my legacy to be, and this is what I want everything out of my camp to feel like. I want it to be around
Yeah.
philanthropy and nonprofits and giving back and authenticity and all of that. And I
Mhm.
think some of my early songs and early things were coming from a place of immaturity, and
Mhm.
I just had to grow from it. And I even
Yeah.
listened to some music I released back then, and it's great, but it's not me anymore. So
And that comes back to something we were talking earlier in the music world of, like, when you talk about your music now
mhm.
and what you're writing because 'cause you're working on an album.
Yes.
Is this your debut album?
No, so
Or
this is
this
my
your
sophomore EP.
sophomore EP? Okay.
Yes.
Got you.
Sophomore EP.
And so you've released 2 singles recently,
Mhm.
which I told you they're insane.
Thank you.
And you just released a music video for your most recent single.
Yes, waited too long. I put out a music video.
Waited Too Long is seriously incredible. The production
you.
of it, the songwriting
Thank
is
you.
flawless, and I mean that.
I'm
Like,
really proud of it.
I
Thank
don't
you.
like I'm not saying that to blow smoke. Like,
No.
I dead ass mean
I
that.
believe you because I believe it. And
Yeah.
so it is what, and that's some of it too. I think like if you don't love your music and people compliment it, you don't believe it. If you love your
Mhm.
music and people hate it, you still love your music.
Yep.
So the end goal is like love your music.
Yeah.
Just put out what is so you. And then when
Yeah.
people love it, you say thank you. And when they don't, you're like, well, I'm gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, respectfully, like, I'm comfortable with it. So,
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool. So when you say that, that's a huge compliment.
Yeah.
Thank you. I love my
Well,
most recent song.
you were saying, though, earlier, talking about your upcoming EP and, like, your music now and how, like, it carries different personas
Mhm.
through the course of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, talk to me about that a little bit.
Mhm.
And, like, the correlation to, like, looking back at what you did before and how you're like, "Yeah, that's not me." But I do think that all flows in line, though, of, like,
Mhm.
how art because like you said, music, art is subjective and creating is subjective, and you're creating something that in some regards was true to who you were in that time.
Totally.
And yeah, like, you're not gonna always look back. I just had this conversation a couple weeks ago when Chris Ella came on, because she kind of said something similar to what you said.
Mhm.
Of how, like, yeah, like, she started releasing music super early too, and then she kind of had the same thing, like, COVID hits and life
Yes.
changes a little bit.
Yeah.
And she said what she says, like, yeah, I look back and, like, it's not that it's bad, but, like, that's not me now. And now I'm at this stage where I'm, 8 years into this journey of, okay, I've found my authentic self and my
Yes.
authentic sound in songwriting. But so talk a little bit about that, like, the way you're able to process and interpret the persona of, like, your sound and your music
Yeah.
as it's changed over time.
Totally.
Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense.
It's a very long-winded question.
No, but I right as you're talking about it, I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
Like every single song that I put out, singles, projects, whatever, like they are timestamps
Mhm.
of my persona, of who I
Mhm.
was in that time. And, it's almost like this living diary, this living journal that's like public and messy. And then
Mhm.
you have visuals to go along with it. So like we're in a crazy time, I think, in history where you can kind of find that visually and, sonically.
Mhm.
All that to say is, I was putting out these singles when I first got to town, doing what a tiny town Illinoisan would think the music industry was. And I was doing it. But I was doing it in a very one piece at a time kind of way. I wasn't really ever looking at things from a full picture. And then I went to LA and I kind of experienced this world that was so much bigger than myself.
Mm.
And I created this, I think it was 5-song EP called First Rodeo.
Okay.
And I put out my debut EP, and it was very much the love child of, LA. It was Nashville, but that project to me was very, yes, sonically great. But it was very much like who people wanted me to be.
Mhm. Sure.
And for the first time, I was able to live this version that
Yep.
just didn't feel good. And I
Yeah.
didn't know what it was, because I'm like, it's great. It's well produced. There's great musicians on it. The visuals are good. But I kept looking at this and I'm like, I don't recognize this girl. So
Mm.
I kind of had this like emotional collapse after that, of like finally putting the song out, living through it, and being like, I already had kind of grown from myself, even before the project was out. So I just remember the turmoil I was feeling internally. And I'm like, it just feels wrong. Even though the music's right, nothing's wrong. And then all of a sudden I ran into this realization that like, even if you put out the best work ever and it is not you, it's still wrong. Like it's still wrong. And so I all of a sudden started just chasing this whole like, screw what everyone wants from me. What does Onoleigh want? Because I'd rather not do it than be this fake thing. Like,
Oh, for
truly,
sure.
you know? So then I jumped in. I started writing music that was a lot more soulful. I've always had this soulful thing about me that, you know, people have said, and I tried to hide that when I first got to town because it wasn't the most mainstream piece. And so I started writing songs that felt good, just felt great. And I wrote a song called Never Beg a Man, and that was the first single I put out. And the response was just amazing.
Yeah.
It was like the most authentic, complimentary piece where when people, like I said, would actually compliment my music, I actually heard that and I received that.
Yeah.
And it felt good. And the visuals felt modest and tasteful, but like just sexy and exploratory for me as a person. And I was starting to kind of learn myself through that single. So after I wrote that single and feeling the response, I said, okay, guys, let's write the rest of the project. So Never Beg a Man was very much the start. Then we got into the copy and paste world, then the Waited Too Long world, then this next single that's coming out. And all of them are very much that journey. So there was the first rodeo. It was like the angst, you know, coming out of a breakup, the worst breakup of my life. Coming out of that, just being angry. And then there's
when did that happen?
The worst breakup of my life.
Yeah.
God, I was 25.
Okay.
So 3 years ago, maybe 2.5.
So it was post-COVID.
Post-COVID.
Okay.
Yeah. And so you get out of something like that. And then, you know, it was immediately angry. It was like 2 weeks after I start writing it. And then, like I said, now I'm in this piece where it's this healing version, and it's kind of like watching old patterns shift away.
Yeah.
And like old versions of myself die.
Yeah.
And that's what this EP that I'm releasing currently, I'm like living through and figuring out. And it's been just like so much healing through the music, externally releasing it, having these conversations. And then also internally when I was writing it, going like, I'm not the version that wrote First Rodeo. And I'm also not the version that's going to write my next project.
100%.
And so kind of learning how do I stay present within this project and how do I get the most out of it. And it's been just a really nice journey, truly.
That's so cool though. And I love to hear that's like, we've been talking for forever, which I'm not upset about. I'm just like trying to think, like I have other questions I want to ask. Yeah. But I also want to honor your time.
You're great.
But we're just having fun at this point.
Yeah, hit it.
So I want to dive in. I want to get into the more the music and songwriting piece. But I want to go back also to when did you first like discover music and that you could do it? Because you said earlier, the reason I asked this, because you said like being a school guidance counselor and nonprofits and that was your dream. Like you went to school for it. And so like how did music come into the picture before that?
So
in that.
Yeah. So in my tiny town, I was always in, you know, chorus, band, musical. I wasn't like the acting musical. I actually didn't do the acting.
You were not Vanessa Hudgens.
No, definitely not. I know. I wasn't the actress. I actually was not the actress, but I was strictly in musical to sing. And honestly, I had my high school had a phenomenal, you know, musical department. And my band director was a massive piece of it. Mr. Stevens, shout out. He was phenomenal. He was my band director. I was not good at the clarinet. I was actually, I think, last year for a really long time. And my mother was like a flute player, so she was always pushing the music and the arts. And so I remember one semester, I think I was like a freshman in high school. My music teacher really pushed me. He really was like, hey, if you really focus on this, you can do it. And I got second chair. And it was like out of nowhere. It's like people were like, I was the girl that they were like, of course, Onoleigh got last chair. Like it made sense. I never put the time in. I didn't have the focus, whatever. And this time I focused on it and I dialed in and I did it. But he also let me like audition sitting on the floor in the corner. And like he was just so non-conventional. Like he didn't need me to be this thing. He let me be what I was. And that had a massive impact on me to the point of, you know, I almost quit band altogether. I was going through it mentally in high school. And I was going to quit everything. And he pulls me aside and he's like, you need to put your name back on the sheet. I was going to audition to be a drum major, the conductor of a marching band. I put my name on. I went to the first workshop. I got absolutely terrified because everyone in the room were actually going to be majors. They were going to
Yeah.
go to college to like do the thing. And I was just like here to have fun, you know?
Yeah.
And I loved it. And then I took my name off out of fear, and he pulled me aside and he's like, put your name back on it.
Dang.
And I'm like, Stevens, I can't do this. He's like, put your name back on it. So I went to the next 3, work camps, workshops, and I ended up auditioning, and they came out and they announced the 3 drum majors. I wasn't one of them. And then the teacher at the time goes, and we're going to actually add a 4th drum major this season because our band's been expanding. Onoleigh, you're the 4th drum major. And I remember like, what? And I was a freshman when I auditioned. So then
Wow.
sophomore, junior, senior, I was this drum major of our marching band. And it was this growth thing that I finally had a purpose. I finally had something bigger than myself, and like conducting all these people. And if you're off tempo, everyone's off tempo. And it was the first time I had something that was mine, that I mattered. Like and like you look back on that and it's crazy.
Yep. No, but I get it.
But as a kid in a tiny town going, oh my God, I can do this.
Where you're searching for purpose and identity.
Searching for purpose.
And
Oh God. And I was a depressed sweet angel. I really struggled to be there.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was now going to school every day because you had to participate in a half school day to participate after school in extracurriculars. So now I'm like, oh, I'm doing better in school because I have this thing after school waiting for me. And oh, people are looking up to me because, I'm the leader of this. And so all that to say, that was the first time that I really felt this bigger thing to music. And then fast forward, I go do the safe route, and I was like, cool, I'll be the guidance counselor. And then I don't know. I visited Nashville at 16, and I was like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to full send it after I get out of college. And again, everything fades casually all the time, but it kept coming back to music, kept coming back to this. And now it's the best thing I've ever done in my life was to
So how many instruments do you play?
Oh, geez. So I play enough to write. I don't play publicly because once you get to Nashville, you realize the real players, and you're like, oh my God. Like I used to say I played guitar when I got to town. Yeah. And then I'll never forget, I was playing a Lower Broadway honky tonk. I get to town. He's like, do you play guitar? I said, yeah. He's like, you sing? I'm like, yeah. He goes, okay, you're tomorrow, Tootsie's Rooftop 2 to 6. I said, a 4-hour gig? I show up, y'all. It was just me. And I remember being like, I can't get through this. Like, I play guitar, but not like these musicians.
100%.
I think I left like halfway through the gig. I was like, here's my cut. Y'all take it away. There was 3 of us on stage.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I learned, I'm like, I'm not going to say I'm a guitar player in Nashville, Tennessee, because that means so much different here than it did in Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you still play clarinet? Can you still play clarinet?
Probably still could. I got to wet my reed, but it's been a couple years. But we probably could rip it if we needed to.
I did middle school band.
Hell yeah.
I played trumpet. I was
You
awful.
look like a trumpet player.
I don't know how.
I mean that in the best way possible. I can look at a human and be like, you played that.
I think my parents might still have my trumpet.
That's cool.
Truthfully. But that's random. Or maybe not. But regardless, I remember the most terrified I ever was. There's 2 moments, like, musically. Because, like, I went to 2 small Christian schools. So it was like,
right.
I mean, I started taking piano lessons when I was, like, in 1st grade, I think, 2nd grade. Like, I started early in life.
Yeah.
I tell you, I regret that I did not learn more music theory when I was younger.
Same.
And then because I changed piano teachers like freshman year of high school, and it went from like one of the ladies who taught piano was our elementary music teacher, to then who just taught like sight, like she was good at teaching sight reading and like how to play piano, but not how to understand music.
Totally.
Whereas so then I go to our choir director. He also worked at the church that was associated with the school, and the dude knew his music knowledge was just out of this world.
Yes.
And so he then tried to teach music theory and all of that world. And I'm like, I wish I would have gotten that. Because like my understanding of it all would be so much deeper now.
Totally.
But when I think I was like 7th or 8th grade, I was playing trumpet in the middle school band. And the church that I went to, we had like it was like graduation Sunday, or it was, I think is what it was. And so I was like part of like 6 or 8 trumpet players, and I was the youngest by far, and I was like the newest at playing trumpet. And on a Sunday morning, I came out and I played the trumpet with this whole, like, our choir or our band director was a trumpet player as well. So it was like me and him and one of my friends who played trumpet and like a couple older guys all playing trumpet together.
Yeah.
and we're playing like Pomp and Circumstance or something, and I was terrified.
Terrified.
And
There is something different.
another time, my freshman year of high school, I started playing guitar that year. And our school did this thing called Fine Arts. It was like a creative arts competition thing amongst a bunch of other Christian schools in the area. And I was in, and I started taking guitar that year, but like it was all like, I was not learning like chords. I was still, his whole thought process was like classical guitar and learning that. And then as you learn notes and how to play classical, then you'll go from there. Well, I was in a string quartet or string ensemble. It was like me and like one or two other guitar players and a couple guys that had started teaching themselves mandolin. I blacked out because I was not prepared. And I was like, I'm just like,
you're in it.
I'm literally BSing my way through this and just like hoping that my part's small enough. And like, I still like think about that. It's like a nightmare. I literally still think about that to this day. It's one of the worst experiences
I have experienced
of my life.
Yep.
But how much, because you talked about your band director, Mr. Stevens, how much recognition do you give internally to the role he played in your development as a human of pushing you when you weren't comfortable, and how now you're able to do what you're doing because you had someone like that early on in life, whether you realize it or not, but someone who saw the best in you and goes, no, like this isn't you. This is who you are.
Yes.
And like, this is who you're going to be because this is who you are. When you're a young, depressed teenager who can't see your way through the corn.
Right.
Pun intended.
I love it, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, you know?
Yes.
Whereas now like you're an adult in Nashville and you're able to do this thing that is hard as hell and have the confidence to do so.
Yeah.
Like, does that, you know what I mean though?
Yes.
Like, because when you're saying that, I was just like, that's like, I feel like in life you have someone like that. Especially when you're young, like you have a teacher or a mentor or someone who comes along who sees the best in you and like takes you under their wing in a sense, which now I feel like is viewed as weird because our culture misinterprets everything. But like I had that. It was my basketball coach my freshman year of high school. His name is Mr. Jolliker. To this day is still a friend of mine. Still, he listens to this podcast. I don't know why, because I'm too unhinged for him. But he is. I mean, he is still he is that person who, like, my sophomore year I was in a really dark place and he called me and he's like, hey, I'm taking a day off school tomorrow. We're skipping school together. We're going to play golf.
Wow.
And he had helped that he was a family, like he was one of my dad's friends. So
Okay. So yes.
But
of course.
And also, you have to keep in mind, I didn't go to public school. I went to a small Christian school.
Right. It was a little bit of a different thing. Yes.
But so all this is like, when you're talking about Mr. Stevens, I'm like, yeah, it's no wonder you're able to do what you're able to do now.
Right. Yeah. And I think what has helped me a lot, even in just growing, is recognizing like I almost need that objectivity to lead myself. I almost try to parent myself, if you will, or lead myself, or
that's
teach
the guidance
myself.
Counselor.
It is. There's like a part of me that's like, I don't want to do this, like Onoleigh. And then there's this part of me, this higher being of myself that's like, hey, but you can do this. And I feel like they're almost like these two people. It's the fear-based and then there's the strength-based version internally all the time. And it's like, I don't want to do this. And then it's like what the Mr. Stevens, the God, the whatever it is inside of me that's going, I know better than you know right now. And I know you can get through this.
Yep.
And it's this higher self. It's this, and you know, I know that you're connected.
It's almost like the mature person in you, in a sense,
person.
You know?
And it's also that ability to recognize that like even the version I'm at right now is going to be this underdeveloped piece one day too. The best version I am now, hopefully, will be the worst version of me in 10 years.
100%.
And like recognizing that life is a spectrum and life is, you know, just a progression of versions of ourselves. I think I'm always trying to go, what is the best version of me want? And how can it help me through this current version now? Whether that looks like a Mr. Stevens or, you know, fill in the blank, having him being able to see kind of through the darkness when I couldn't see it. Now I'm trying to like channel that within myself. I don't know if you experience that too.
No. I understand what you're saying. I think of it in a sense, you said something as you were talking, made me think about this, is I heard this years ago, actually, Alfonso Rivera, who played Carlton on Fresh Prince, was talking about how he was on a golf podcast I listen to sometimes. I used to listen to all the time, but he was talking about how when you play golf, I'm a big golfer. And so I understood this. It's like when you stand on a tee box and there's water over here and you say, don't hit in the water, your brain doesn't understand. I don't know if this is true or not, but I'd say that it's true. So this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Our brains don't understand negatives. And so when your brain internally hears, don't hit in the water, all your brain hears is hit in the water or do hit in the water.
Or you become aware of the water.
Yeah. And so like all that's now all you focus on is that. And so it's no surprise that your ball then goes there. I think about it then in terms of my son. I heard someone say this years ago that it's easy as a parent to look at your kid when they're misbehaving and say, we don't do that. Well, their brain doesn't understand negatives the same way yours doesn't. So when you speak to the negative, you're bringing the negative out instead of speaking to the positive or the mature or grown up or healthier or better version of yourself as an individual or someone you're speaking to and say, no, like this is actually who you are. And like, cause you think about it as like how much when you are in those dark places of where like internally the fear or whatever it is kicks in, because you can't do this, it's too hard or whatever. But then you start telling yourself, or someone else comes on the line and goes, no, like you have everything you need to be able to do everything you're supposed to be doing right now. Think about like the internal shift that comes in the, like, I mean, I probably feel that, like we were talking about this earlier, how much every day that fear of, and I don't know what else, but just that sense of like, am I really doing the right thing? Should I really keep pursuing this? Should I really keep doing it? I mean, I think I have that thought. I get scared out of my mind and like anxious about what I'm doing and how am I going to get to where I want to get to, because like I'm all of that. I have that thought every other day.
God, mine's freaking daily.
Yeah.
Every day there's a ping in my stomach that's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I know that the only thing stronger than that fear is like knowing that I'm able to accomplish it. I know in my heart that I can do hard things. I've done harder things.
Oh, 100. And that became our family's mantra like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Like because our son went through this whole thing of, he was real anxious with school. Like he had gotten really sick. Our oldest, you met Roman, and he got real anxious and like didn't want to go to school, didn't want to leave my side, like wanted to be home all the time. And I'm like, I mean, I'm saying like full blown panic attack meltdowns when we got to school.
Yeah.
And like it never had him before. And we start, and like he and I have this thing, we do a saying together every time, like every morning, every night before he goes to bed, everyone before he gets out of the car in school, we say the same thing. And we started saying like, I can do hard things. And like, and now it's just like part of our family's mantra of like, no, we can do hard things, like whatever it is, like you can, and there's such a piece of that of like, I think as adults, we need to be reminded of that, of like, life is hard, you know?
It's so difficult. And there's so much free will and you can do whatever the heck you want. So you have to hone in on who the heck you are. I think that is the key.
And it's authenticity.
That's it. This is our key word.
It is the key.
Through this whole
episode. Key word of the through. It's the through line of our conversation.
Totally.
When you think about, sorry, my phone vibrated. I lost my train of thought for a second. When you think about your songwriting journey, and you talked kind of about how that like COVID was a big change for you.
Yeah.
And then you talk about how then going through the breakup, 3-4 years ago, that was a big change for you. And how then it was post that, that's when you were really able to lean into the sound of like, that you'd been pulled away from. Was there anything in the midst of, because like, to kind of come back to that authenticity piece, what all in that, and you maybe already kind of addressed this talking about it, but like what all was in that season of life where you really finally found that and were able to really dive into that when it comes to songwriting and artistry and performing?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is, it's really easy to be rejected when you're not being yourself,
Dang,
like,
yeah.
I think it's really easy. It's almost like this self-preservation thing when you're not being authentic. Well, if they hate me, it's okay because it's not really me.
Yeah.
And I think the boldest thing you can do is like be yourself. And then when people hate you, it hurts because you're like, oh God, that's personal. And I think when I went through this total betrayal breakup, and in hindsight, there were so many pieces of it and yada yada. And like,
oh yeah, but in the midst of it.
In the midst of it. Yeah.
It's like when you break up someone in high school, you're like, my life is over. And then you look back, you're like,
yes.
It does,
yes, exactly. And I think this guy specifically is kind of the metaphor for why I'm bringing this in with songwriting is what I've recognized in hindsight. The reason that guy hurt so bad is because that was the first man I was ever truly authentically myself with.
Wow.
And so all the breakups before, when they ended, it was like, yeah, but they didn't really know me, so like it didn't hurt. This one really hurt because I gave him my soul and showed him darkest parts of me, and he still cheated on me. And then you hear that, and it hurts you. And I think all of that to say is there was this complete similarity with writing music. Of I was taking the really easy way out of not showing people my authentic self, and I was writing music that like was okay. It was good. Like it was good music, but it wasn't my soul, and it wasn't exactly what I wanted to say. And so there was this part though that going through that breakup, I became my authentic self, because for the first time I looked at the darkest parts of myself and I went, doesn't matter if he can accept them, do I accept them? And I grew so much, and then all of a sudden my entire vision of existence changed.
Yep.
So I said, well, if I could do that in a relationship and I can like totally transform, how could I do that in songwriting? And so I was like, I gotta be completely authentically myself. If it's not worth it putting out half-assed subpar music, it doesn't really resonate with me. Like this industry is too hard. It's too hard anyway, and it's way, way, way too hard to be something you're not.
Yeah.
So through that relationship, I really hit rock bottom in every aspect of my life. It was personally, and then it carried over to the songwriting. And I'm like, what do you have to lose?
Dang.
So
isn't that interesting though, that sometimes in life it does take us getting to rock bottom?
Yes, it's a portal.
To then get to the authentic.
You have
like
to.
You're not, and I hate like the coin your truest self, because I just, but like that, getting like stripping away the noise of like who other people want us to be and getting into like who we were created to be, you know?
Yes.
And it takes the darkest seasons and the hardest times to get to that.
And again, I think like when you are in the darkest, to speak on that, when you are in the darkest season of your life, again, I think you have to hit rock bottom in order to change, because the only thing harder than changing, because it's so hard to shift your patterns and look at your life objectively, the only thing harder than changing is the pain to stay still.
Yep.
And so
1000%.
that is why rock bottom moves you forward.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you can tell an alcoholic all day, like, you're gonna get these diseases, you're gonna get sick. And you can give them this for years and years and years, but until they hit that point of like, you're right, I'm in X failure or whatever, do they shift their entire life? And you could look at that and go blah, blah, blah. But you need a rock bottom to have a realization.
And I think every person in humanity, anyone that's accomplished anything, I think can probably point back to a moment in life that was a form or fashion of rock bottom.
Yes.
Even the most successful, something happened that shifted their life.
And then fueled them into doing the thing, which is, I think, why you hear all the, Superman, all of these superheroes, they had a rough childhood. And that is what propelled them. Because again, the only thing harder than moving forward was staying the same.
That's dang.
Yeah.
That's a bar.
That's why I think you have we all have success. I think the most creative, the most successful are sometimes the darkest. Unfortunately.
The most twisted in a sense, in a weird sense. Well, all right. I have one more thing I want to talk about, because you brought this up earlier, and I identified it with that on every level, because you said that you are an album girly.
Yes.
And which brought up, when this album comes out, I will have just brought the week last. Okay, hold on. We're recording this Monday, July 13th. Tuesday, July 14th, my conversation with Nate Rose will come out. Whatever the flip I'm trying to say.
It's going to happen, okay?
I've lost my ability to speak.
That's okay. It happens to me.
In that, I brought up this concept of we've lost the art of an album. And so when you said that, you're like, I'm an album girl. Because then we were talking about songs and songwriting and artistry. And I think you were initially talking about your project coming out in a couple weeks. And then we got into this whole thing, and I was like, okay, no, we'll bring this up.
Yeah.
What is it about an album? Because I'm gonna make this a little more fun in a second, but like, what is it you think about an album that locks you in, where like where you'll listen to a single, but you want the single in the scope of the project? What is it about that?
Yeah.
That you love so much?
I think I am a sucker for the gray area. I am not a black and white thinker at all. I am very like, well, what's the context? And I think albums give you context. Like when you get a single, you're getting a face value opinion, you're getting a face value piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then you listen to a project as a whole and you're like, wow, this is the darkest parts of them. And then this is the excited parts of them. And I'm able to kind of connect the dots between singles and songs and really get an understanding for the whole.
Yep.
And I think that's how my brain works every day.
Yep.
And also why I think music has lost that amazing piece where.
Because it's almost in a sense of where within singles, not to overuse authenticity, but within an album, like you're saying, you get those, you connect dots and you get stories and narratives and you can see the ebb and flow. And sometimes in single culture, you don't have to get into that.
Right.
You can just write a bop and put it out.
Totally.
And get fans and people stream it and
Of
it
course.
does great. Whereas like in an album, like you think like, okay, let's segue this into, I need your top 5 albums of all time.
Ooh.
Yeah, I see. I know.
Ooh.
And that's so freaking hard. And that's why I ask it.
Okay. Etta James.
Is this in order, 1 to 5? Or 5 to
no,
1?
I think this
Or
is going to
this
be
just
all.
general?
This is
Okay.
going to be general.
This is
But
just general.
Etta James,
Okay.
Tell Mama.
Okay.
The Tell Mama album.
Okay.
There are pieces of me that have healed through that. Outrageous. Currently, Lacey K. Booth, Loneliest Girl in the World. That, I think, hands down, is the best album in female country-esque music happening. Oh, golly. Okay. Let me think.
So you got 2 down.
I really loved Sam Smith in The Lonely Hour.
Okay.
Okay, this was 2015. This was also like, again, I was in a dark place.
Sure.
He hit me.
Were you still in high school?
I was in high school. I was a senior in high school.
God, you're the same age as my sister.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make me feel old, but also makes me feel old.
But no, that was a really
the same
big
year
one.
we moved to Nashville.
Yeah. Oh,
Jeez.
yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. Okay.
Man, okay. I think Black Keys. God, what is the Brother? I think
Okay.
The Brother album. I'm not saying the right words.
Yeah.
And then
I can't think of
Marcus
the title.
King, El Dorado. Yeah.
Dang.
Those
are 5 banger albums.
And like, again, these are just the ones. They're all so different.
They're all so different.
And they're all. I'm gonna tonight after we leave this conversation. I'm gonna go. Oh my god, I didn't say that one. I listen, but again, I know albums more than I know singles.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's massive. Like I think from the El Dorado album from Marcus King, I think I know Marcus King because there's different sides of him that he experiences. You know, there's like The Well, and it's this progressional song that's just kind of bringing you there, and then Sweet Mariola and all of these that kind of bring you back to the softer sides of him. And I'm trying to create music like that too, that are again full picture.
Yep.
It's not just the bop, you know. And that's just kind of preference when it comes down to being in this long enough.
And that. One of my favorite things about music, and maybe is one of the reasons why I love it and having artists on this show so much, is because there's something about music that, unlike anything else in life, takes you back.
Yes.
Like you remember the feeling of another life, almost in a sense of like the simplicity. It's like I'm saying this right now. And I think it's true because I've said it a lot recently. I think my favorite album of all time is Kenny Chesney's When the Sun Goes Down.
Cool.
I felt better about that when he was on Bobby Bones' podcast sometime at the beginning of this year. And Bobby asked Kenny his top 5 songs of all time.
Okay.
And I think either 3 or 4 of the songs in his top 5, I can't remember exactly, but are all from that album. And none of them are When the Sun Goes Down.
Wow.
I Go Back is one of them.
Yeah, so good.
Anything But Mine. Old Blue Chair, that is one of the most slept on Kenny songs.
I was going to say.
That is a freaking banger.
Yeah.
But so like when I think there was one more on that album. I can't remember that he said that was in his top 5. And I was like, okay, no, I'm onto something here. But that album is like, it takes me back to being, God, I think I was 8 when that album came out. And just like the feeling of being a kid. And like, you're just, the simplicity of life.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. And I think that was just probably from presence. I think being
100%.
a child, it's not necessarily the ease or the beauty. It was just you were in it. Like you didn't have so many things taking you from the present moment.
And that also is one of the few albums that's like, it's short, it's not a long album, but there's not a skip on that album.
That's when you know.
That's when you know.
That's when you know.
It's like when Justin Bieber released Purpose. There's not a skip on that album.
See, and that's what I mean. I haven't even touched the whole pop world. Like,
I know,
you asked
that's
me
what
that
I'm
question, and I'm
saying.
like, I don't
And
even.
see, that's why I didn't tell you I was gonna ask you it,
I
because
know.
it's on the spot.
on
You're
the
just like
spot.
whatever top 5 comes into your head. Because now, like, I'm also thinking like what like I'd put Bieber I'd put Purpose in my top 5. I'd put Happiness Begins by the Jonas Brothers in my top 5. I am a massive Jonas Brothers fan.
This is cool though. That's good. Jonas Brothers.
Love
I mean,
the
they're
Jonas
pretty
Brothers.
fantastic. They're pretty
Yeah.
fantastic. I see, but then you go into you just said Jonas Brothers. Now I'm going Miley Cyrus. I was in the Plastic Hearts album. That's when I really
That
got
album's
in.
fire.
It's
that album
insane.
is so good.
Angels Like You.
That album is so good.
That's what I mean. Now I'm gonna be racking my brain.
Yeah,
I gotta
I
get
know.
prepared for this
But
question.
see, like what's also hard too is like then I start thinking about people like I heard like Drunk on You came on the other day, which like I don't know what else is on that album, but that song though takes me back to being 18,
Yes.
just graduated high school when that song came out, and like
Yes.
in my cute little Toyota Corolla riding around with the windows down with my buddies. You know, it's like that just
Yes. It's less about the song and more about the memory around it. Absolutely.
Yeah, or it's like Randy Houser. Like I vividly remember my best friend in the world, Buddy. His name's Buddy. His name is not actually Buddy,
but you call him.
But and to this day, I'm like, he's been my best friend for the greater majority of our entire lives, and I'm like, do we know where Buddy came from? And it's like no one really knows.
He's just a good buddy.
He's just Buddy. He's just an elf.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I remember he and his brother-in-law, who was also one of our closest friends, came to visit me when I was youth pastor, and they're like, "Dude, you got to hear this new song." And it was, I think it was either How Country Feels or Running Out of Moonlight.
Aww.
And now to this day, those are two of my favorite songs. Still two of my favorite songs.
It's really cool. No, and music has that impact, and that's why I'm honored that I get to kind of, in some capacity, hopefully.
And that's what's wild is now, like you flip the table, and now you're writing and performing and doing that for people.
It's cool.
And it's just
it feels like a true honor, honestly. I get
imagine.
Sometimes like there's the imposter syndrome, and then you put all that work in, and then you go, this is my life. Like this is what I've chosen. I don't even think I knew what I chose until now that I'm really in it. I'm like, oh my God, it is.
And then you reflect on it and just like,
I'm just so grateful.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's nutty.
So cool.
I love it more than breathing, which is again why you stay in it, because sometimes this industry can feel like a toxic relationship. You know, it like kicks your ass, so mean to you, and then it gives you one shred of hope and excitement, and then you perform and you meet fans and you hear their stories and how your music impacted them, and
it's that one moment,
and all of a sudden you're like, I love you again, and it does kick your ass, but again, it's like the greatest love of my life is this music industry.
God.
I know.
That's so cool. I love hearing that. I mean, I've enjoyed this conversation so much. I feel like there's also a million other things we could get into.
That's what is crazy about this. Fun. Maybe a little part 2.
Oh, we're going to have, you're coming back 1,000%.
We can extend this.
100%. Well, it's been an honor to have you on. I
you.
truly think that you are on the cusp of greatness.
Thank you.
And
that means
I
a lot.
mean it. And I told you this earlier, your music's incredible. And if I don't like music, I'm like,
that's good though. I respect again people who say no. I'm like, I love that. I love that, because then we can trust when you say yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. I told you that earlier. So, where can people find your tour stuff and music and everything? Where can they go to find that?
So everything is my biological name, Onoleigh. O-N-O.
That still blows my freaking mind. Like I'm telling, you can ask Tori. I literally told her, I was like, that's got to be her stage name. Has to be. And the fact that it's not is also,
it's pretty
and
cool.
the reason why your parents tell you it's not,
right,
is also so sick.
Thank you. But yes, Onoleigh, ONOLEIGH.com, on all streaming platforms, pretty much anywhere you can find it. That's sick. Again the beauty of having a unique name. It's
you don't have to. It's not like Onoleigh like dot
16421.
Yeah, right.
We got
right.
the handle, honey.
It's just like it's my name. That's so sick. Do you have any shows coming up soon?
Yes. So I'm actually opening for Craig Morgan in Illinois, which is going to be really cool on August 29th. I'm actually going to be 29 the day before. So it's kind of crazy. Yeah. We're going to wrangle the year in style, and it's going to be fun. So that one's that. And then pretty much just cooking, getting this project out.
You're turning 29 on August 29th?
August 28th.
28th, I mean?
29th,
okay,
yes. But
so my younger sister turns 20 on August 24th.
Ooh.
So you all are literally, that's weird.
That's crazy, right?
When you said that just kind of clicked.
It's nutty.
But so you're playing with Craig Morgan August 29th?
I'm going to open for him, and it's going to be gorgeous. And
it's
incredible. So we're pushing for that show, and then.
Awesome. And then you have another single coming out soon.
Yes, on the 30th. I've got a song called Losing Me and You coming out.
And that's of August or July?
Of July. Yeah, this month.
Let's freaking go.
Couple weeks, yeah.
And what's the title of it?
It's called Losing Me and You.
Okay.
And I've actually never announced the title yet, so there you go.
Let's go.
Exclusive.
freaking love
But yeah, it's basically kind of about being such a lover girl and such a people pleaser in that stage of my life where you're in a relationship and you give so much before you know it, you've lost yourself. And it's just all about that experience and the growth of it. And
Dang.
yeah, I can't wait to show you guys. It's a ballad, okay? It's
Okay,
like
I love it.
a high emotional ballad.
I
my
love
heart
it.
and soul. So
I freaking love it. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. It's been
Thank
an
you for
honor.
having me.
Make sure to go check out her music. And if you're in Illinois, go see her open for Craig Morgan.
We'll see
Where,
it.
where in Illinois are you? Hold on. Where
It's in a town called Mahomet, Mahomet. Mahomet.
Is that your
Illinois.
hometown?
It is a hometown show. So
Oh, let's go.
that's what I mean.
All your high school friends are pulling up.
They're gonna pull up. They're gonna say, "Hey, girl," and I'm
Yeah.
gonna say, "Yeah, buy my merch." So
Yeah, that's gonna say, it's like it's a
gonna be
quick
great.
it's a quick middle finger.
Yeah, it's gonna
It's
be
you-
really fun.
This
and
is the part of the podcast where we've gotten very unhinged. When I say it's a quick middle finger.
we love an unhinged moment. Whatever. That's why I just nod. I nod.
Yeah,
But no, they're all very
sweetie.
supportive, and I will
It's
say,
a quick sweetie.
yes. And my town has been truly very supportive. I will give them that.
It's so sick.
And so they're all gonna be front row, and hopefully you'll too.
Let's go.
Sick.
Let's go. Thank you so much again
Thank
for
you
coming on.
very
It's been fun.
Yes.
Thank you all so much for listening to another episode of Deepish. Onoleigh, such a pleasure to have you on the show. I hope all of you enjoyed our conversation that we had together. And make sure to go check out her music wherever you listen to music and visit her website so that you can find the show. Go support her. And would mean the world to both of us for you to support her or her candle making business. We're about to have a custom candle in these parts from her. But again, such a fun conversation learning about her life and her upbringing and her willingness to bet on herself and set out in this career path. And so, again, make sure to go support her. As always, thank you for listening to Deepish. Take a minute, leave us a review. Wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple, Amazon, YouTube, Spotify, wherever, leave us a 5-star review. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, what else? Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media channels you have, wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe, leave us a review so that you don't miss anything and that we can continue to bring great episodes. So we'll see you next week for our next episode.